On February 1, 2004, in Sarasota, Florida, Joseph Smith's life seemed to have hit rock bottom. Seated in a car with a bag of cocaine and a hypodermic needle on his lap, his prospects appeared bleak. Smith, once oscillating between sobriety and addiction, had succumbed yet again to his drug habit. His relapse had severe consequences. His wife expelled him from their North Sarasota home, and his job as an auto mechanic was lost. At 37, Smith was staying with friends who had lent him their 12-year-old Buick. He was in this vehicle on that fateful Sunday evening, parked on Bee Ridge Road in southeast Sarasota. The time was 6:15 p.m., and while most of America was tuning in to watch Super Bowl 38, Smith was alone, wrestling with his demons and the grim reality of his situation. As a parolee and probationer, he knew too well that this latest lapse could lead him back to prison. Defeated and desperate, Smith's world had narrowed to the confines of that borrowed car. It's often said that when individuals feel they have nothing left to lose, their actions can become unpredictable and even dangerous. This seemed to be the case with Smith. The streets were unusually quiet, emptied by the Super Bowl. Then, a young girl walking along the sidewalk caught Smith's attention. Her blonde hair was neatly pulled back, and she wore a tight red top with blue jeans, a backpack slung over her shoulder. She occasionally broke into a quick trot, suggesting she was running late. Smith followed her for a short distance, then maneuvered his car to intercept her as she passed by a secluded area behind a car wash, stepped out of the vehicle and approached her. Startled, she tried to avoid him, but he was too quick. Grabbing her arm firmly, he led her to the Buick. Tragically, this would be the last car ride she would ever take. Carlie Brucia was a bright spark in the lives of those who knew her. At just 11 years old, born on March 16, 1992, she embodied the vivacious spirit of a typical tween. A sixth grader at McIntosh Middle School in Sarasota, she lived mere blocks from where her life would take a tragic turn. Carlie was not just a statistic, she was a young girl with dreams and hobbies. Her love for shopping malls was as fervent as her admiration for singer and actress Jennifer Lopez. She was known for her bubbly personality, her animated conversations, and the warm, big hugs she loved to give her friends. The story of Carlie's family paints a picture of change and adaptation. Her parents, Susan Shorpen and Joe Brucia, started their journey together on Long Island, where Carlie was born. However, their paths diverged before Carlie's first steps. Seeking a supportive environment, Shorpen moved with Carlie to Sarasota to be closer to her grandparents. Despite the separation, Carlie remained connected to her father in New York, becoming an experienced traveler on her visits to see him. Life in Sarasota for Carlie involved a new family dynamic. Her mother remarried, bringing a stepfather and a half-brother, Leif, into Carlie's life. They resided in a modest house on McIntosh Road, a testament to the family's unpretentious and grounded lifestyle. Carlie's last known moments were as ordinary as any other day in her young life. She was returning home from a sleepover with friends at Connie Arnold's home, located at the intersection of Bee Ridge and Leilani Boulevard. Unbeknownst to those who cherished her, these would be the final steps Carlie would take in this world, marking a heartbreaking end to a life brimming with potential. The Manatee County Sheriff's Department faced a critical decision when Carlie Brucia went missing. Despite the grave situation, they hesitated to issue an Amber Alert, citing the lack of eyewitnesses to an abduction. This left Carlie's mother, Shorpen, grappling with the possibility that her daughter might have run away, a scenario that seemed implausible to those who knew Carlie well. This incident brings to light a troubling aspect of the Amber Alert system: the perception of selective issuance, often influenced by the socioeconomic status or influence of the missing child's family. In Carlie's case, despite fitting the profile of a child at high risk, the classic victim of a stranger abduction, no alert was issued. This oversight was particularly alarming considering the grim statistics. Of the roughly 100 such abductions reported annually, the majority of victims are female, many suffer sexual assault, and a staggering 3/4 are murdered within the first 3 hours. In lieu of an Amber Alert, the Sheriff's Department resorted to more traditional methods. Bloodhounds were deployed, tracing Carlie's scent from the Arnold home to Evie's car wash at 4735 Bee Ridge Road, where it vanished. Interestingly, investigators initially focused on the stepfather, without clear rationale. However, a breakthrough came when the detectives noticed a motion-activated security camera at the car wash, commonly used as a shortcut by local kids. Pursuing this lead, they contacted the owner, Mike Evanoff, to review the footage. It wasn't until Monday afternoon, nearly 18 hours after Carlie's disappearance, that they viewed the tape. The footage, time-stamped at 6:21 p.m. on Sunday, revealed a shocking scene. Carlie's abduction was captured on camera. The footage showed a man boldly approaching Carlie, seizing her arm, exchanging a few words, and then forcefully leading her away towards a Buick station wagon. Mike Evanoff's reaction echoed the sentiment of all who witnessed the footage. "We were all just stunned," he told reporters. "I wasn't really expecting to see what I saw. It was chilling." This unexpected discovery turned the case in a new direction, offering a glimmer of hope in the frantic search for Carlie. The chilling video of Carlie Brucia's abduction, a rare and graphic illustration of such a crime, quickly garnered national attention. Broadcast on news programs throughout America, it depicted the abductor in a mechanic's uniform, complete with a name tag. His distinctive appearance, marked by heavily tattooed arms, a height of around 5'8", a sturdy build, and dark hair, was clear in the footage. To aid the investigation, NASA and the FBI stepped in to enhance the video's clarity, enabling a better view of the abductor. The authorities, seeking leads, turned to the public for assistance. The response was overwhelming. They received over 800 tips. Remarkably, several of these tips echoed the same identification. One caller, identifying as a friend, was convinced the man in the video was Joe Smith, recognizing him by his haircut and walk. Another tipster was emphatic, stating with certainty that the individual on the video was indeed Joe Smith. A third, a woman, expressed being 100% sure that Joe Smith was the suspect. These assertions weren't made lightly. Among the callers were individuals with personal connections to Smith, including his former business partner, a past employer, and a housemate. This consensus among the tips painted a compelling portrait of the suspect, driving the investigation into a focused search for Joe Smith. With the suspect identified as Joe Smith, law enforcement swiftly mobilized to apprehend him. Their first stop was Smith's previous residence, where they spoke with his estranged wife, Luz Castrillon. She pointed them to Smith's current location. Upon arrival, the police discovered drug paraphernalia and, as a result, arrested Smith for violating his probation. A critical piece of evidence came from Jeff and Naomi Pincus, Smith's colleagues, who reported that Smith had borrowed their yellow Buick station wagon on the afternoon of the Super Bowl. He had promised a quick return in 15 minutes, but reappeared only 16 hours later, on Monday morning. The Pincuses noted an odd discrepancy in the car's mileage. A total of 382 miles had been driven. Jeff Pincus remarked on Smith's demeanor upon his return, describing him as unusually upbeat, showing no signs of distress or concern. In the meantime, the community rallied in a massive effort to find Carlie. Teams of investigators delved into the case while volunteers blanketed the neighborhood with missing girl posters. Sarasota's officials, moved by the haunting surveillance footage, offered a $50,000 reward, declaring Carlie Sarasota's child in a statement by the mayor. Amidst this outpouring of support, Carlie's parents made heart-wrenching appeals through the media. Susan Shorpen, her voice laden with emotion, addressed her missing daughter directly, expressing her unwavering love and constant readiness to receive any news. Joe Brucia, Carlie's father, also sent a message to his daughter, encouraging her to stay strong. The police, too, joined in with personal appeals, urging Carlie not to lose hope. The site of the abduction, Evie's car wash, became a focal point for community support, adorned with signs and messages of hope and solidarity. Television news crews set up nearby, capturing the outpouring of public sympathy and solidarity. However, despite this immense wave of communal effort and emotion, a tragic reality lingered. It was all too late for Carlie Brucia. Heartbreakingly, she had passed away before the Amber Alert could be issued, likely even before the Super Bowl game had concluded. In a tense family meeting at the Sarasota County Jail on the morning of February 5th, Joe Smith faced his brother John and their mother, Patricia Davis. Despite not yet being charged with murder, pressure mounted as they implored Joe to reveal the truth about Carlie Brucia's whereabouts. In an emotionally charged confrontation, Patricia relentlessly urged her son to disclose the girl's location. After persistent denials, Joe's facade crumbled, and he confessed in a whisper, admitting to a cocaine-induced haze and uncertain memories. He chillingly confessed to having rough sex with Carlie, eerily mirroring the phrase used in the notorious Preppy murder case 2 decades earlier, and suggested he might have killed her. Joe provided directions to Carlie's hidden remains, intending to use this information as leverage in negotiations with authorities. The brothers even resorted to using a childhood code over the phone, referring to Carlie's body as Station C in a bizarre twist of events. Driven by a mix of curiosity and disbelief, John and Patricia set out to verify Joe's claims. They headed to the Central Church of Christ, near the abduction site. Despite their efforts to blend in, the search on the church grounds yielded nothing. That evening, during a series of phone conversations, Joe floated the idea of John claiming the $50,000 reward if he found Carlie's body. The brothers contemplated using the reward for the benefit of Joe's daughters. However, John, rattled by the gravity of the situation and fearing legal consequences, contacted the FBI. At 9 p.m., a somber search party, including John, Patricia, Sarasota detective Toby Davis, and FBI agents, reconvened at the church. Guided by Joe's instructions from jail, they focused on a grove of Brazilian pepper trees. Near midnight, their search came to a tragic end as they discovered Carlie's body, concealed beyond a chain-link fence. Patricia's grief was so profound that Joe could hear her weeping over the phone. Joe expressed remorse to his brother, but forensic evidence painted a brutal picture of the crime. Carlie had endured sexual assault and was strangled with a garrote. The violence she suffered was evident in the scars and bruises on her body, and the coroner concluded she had been killed on the night of her abduction. Medical examiner Dr. Russell Vega noted the evidence of Carlie's fierce struggle for life, marked by defensive wounds. It was a harrowing end to a life cut tragically short, encapsulating the horrific reality of child abduction cases. Finally, on March 13, 2006, Joseph Peter Smith was sentenced to death for his crimes. Although the perpetrator has faced the consequences of his actions, there are still questions that make us ponder. Is it possible that the law has not been strict enough with truly dangerous criminals? And could it be that if the Amber Alert system had been activated earlier, the fate of little Carlie might not have been so tragic? What do you think about this? Don't forget to leave your opinions below. Goodbye and see you again.